Doug, what are you doing back there, man? We're about to start recording. Can't you see the on-air light? Jeez, Doug, you're killing me over here. Always with the rustling around on set. Oh, we're recording already. I'm sorry you had to witness that. Fucking Doug, he's always dicking around back there. Anyways, I'm kidding. There's nobody named Doug here. It's just me. I don't even know if there's anybody out there except for me, just talking to myself. But if by chance there is somebody tuning in, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And welcome to episode number 7 of the Rob Anderson Show Foundational Healing. And what do you guys think we're going to discuss today? Do you have any suggestions? What's that? Uh-huh. Letting go. I think that's a wonderful suggestion. So thank you to whoever threw that one out there today. Let's dig right in. So, letting go, hanging on, letting go, hanging on. Isn't life just a series of now moments? So that means we have to learn to get real good at letting go of the past, right? But so often we hang on to people, places, and things because we believe those people make up who we are, who our identity is. Um, and so those things can come not only, sometimes it's not even just letting go of people's places and things. It might be letting go of traditions, programs, belief systems. There's a lot of things in our lives that we have to let go of. And it's going to be just like anything, like the rest of the foundational healing workshop that I've been talking about. It's a process. And so I often ask myself these questions. What makes us hang on to things in the past? Why do we hang on to people, places, and things? Why do we get stuck in memories and emotions? And to be honest, the more I learn, the more I realize I didn't know about true reality. And so it's kind of a rabbit hole that I've been going down and I'm slowly climbing out of lately. But there's so much, as the saying goes, you don't know what you don't know. And so where does our inability to let things go? Why do we have emotional triggers? Why do things come up? Why do we cry about the past, or why do we have emotional reactions to the past, or anger when something comes back up? Those are the type of things that if we don't let go, they're going to kill us. Our emotions will kill us. And so we keep repeating those same patterns. They keep bubbling back up. And I can't speak for anybody else, but I know that I've had trouble letting things go in the past. And so, what is the cause behind that? And as I mentioned on a previous episode, it's stored in our DNA. Everything we've experienced throughout this life, people, places, things, the stuff that we watch, the stuff that we hear, the stuff that we experience, it's all recorded in us in our epigenetic DNA recording system. So, because we have emotional bodies, pain bodies, fear bodies, and all these other energetic bodies that we can't actually see with the naked eye, or at least most people can't, those get clogged up and they need to be cleared. And we're not taught that. So that's why a lot of our emotional pains and the things that sting, they stick with us. And so they can be triggered by a song on the radio, even a conversation, somebody walking by in the grocery store or on the path, somebody says something, or somebody's talking about something and they don't mean to trigger you. And then all of a sudden you have this emotional reaction and you're like, where is this coming from? And so we have to look into those things, into the DNA, how powerful uh, those systems are and how they can trigger memories in us, and even DNA from our ancestors. So things that we might not have even experienced might trigger an emotion, like I mentioned on the previous episode. And if you haven't watched that one and you're wondering what I'm talking about, go through the series and check out why healings are complicated, why DNA makes our healings complicated. I forget which episode it is, but it's a few ago. It might have been number 5 or something like that. But having said all that, letting go isn't always easy. And actually, I read a book. I don't really recommend books, but there's one out there. I think what is it, by David Hawkins? Dr. David Hawkins, called Letting Go. And a friend actually sent me that book when I was going through a lot of stuff. And I found a lot of good information in there. And with anything, just take what resonates and leave the rest. But I find a lot of stuff in there. There's good and bad information, but it talks a lot about letting go. And that's what the name, the title of the book is. Um, so Life is but constant change. It's always changing. It's always moving. It's as I mentioned in one of my shorts, it's life is just a series of now moments strung together. So literally what I said at the beginning of this episode is gone, you know? I don't even really remember what I talked about, even aside from yelling at Doug. But it's imperative that we let go so we can create our future, because otherwise, if we don't let go, we're just recreating the same patterns, the same behaviors, the same past. So we're literally living Day over and over again. If you've ever seen that movie, it's a pretty interesting and funny show that speaks a lot of truth. And there's, a lot of times movies do have, the moral of the story or whatever speaks a lot of truth about reality that we live in. And so that's a really good movie. But that's what most of our lives are like. And at least for me, it was, even though the actors change, you're still kind of going through the same scenarios, maybe with different people. Maybe it's having the same fights with your significant other, or the same arguments with your boss, or the same things. But, what I noticed is that even though the people changed, sometimes the same patterns, the same recurring events were popping back up in my life, but it was just, the faces were different, but the scenarios were the same. And so, how do we let that go? How do we clear the past? And it's not always easy. And so I asked myself, why? Why do we hold on to the past? Why do we feel that the future is going to be, there's even sayings that are so ingrained in our society. Maybe that's part of the programming. If you've ever heard the saying, the good old days, the good old days. Why, like the good, there's no good days ahead, or this moment isn't any good. This beautiful now moment in which the only reality that we know exists, because the only true reality is this moment that you're living in right now. So if it's watching me, then that's the only reality you know right now. For me, the only reality truly I know is me doing this episode for you guys. And anything else is mind energy, it's darkness, it's retrieving information from the past, or fantasizing or envisioning a future, which is all fine and dandy, being a multidimensional being. But the only true reality source energy where everything is available is here in this now moment. So letting go of the past is imperative. And, you know, it's okay to envision your future here and there and dabble in, but your point of power is always in the present moment. So, you know, you can envision the future all you want, but if you don't take concrete action with intention in the present moment, it's just always going to be elusive. So clearing the past, but that's a tough thing, letting go. And sometimes it just happens with time, I guess you could say, what's the I'm sorry, I kind of glitched out because I was trying to remember that saying, time heals all wounds or whatever, right? But if we can learn to disidentify with the people, places, and things and stuff that happened in the past, we can really learn to clear it quicker and let things, when we regain our spiritual integrity and our ability to live in the moment, it doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter if it happened 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago. And so that's where the real work comes in, is being able to let things go so that they don't keep coming up, they don't keep bothering you. And I'm getting better at it. When I was younger, 10 years ago, maybe I had a bad day or something. The coping mechanisms that I used to have were just absolutely ridiculous. And then those are the things that cause you to keep on perpetuating or thinking about the situation. How could I have done this? How could I have done that? Should I have done that? Because we don't trust in our decisions. We don't trust in our ability to. For me, it was maybe my spiritual integrity. It was always doubting, wondering, oh, did I screw up my life? Should I have done this? Did I break up with this girl? And did I screw things up? And maybe she was the one. And all these like stupid things you're told when you're young, and you don't really realize that maybe those things that people said to you, or thought patterns that you have, or belief systems, are really inhibiting you from letting go. So things change. And I think there's a quote that I always like, that I forget what the first guy's name is. It like Johann, or I don't know, Van Gogh, or whatever, Van Gogh, or whatever the guy's name. But our passions are the true phoenixes. So when one burns up, another one rises from the ashes. So it's okay to let go of things. Maybe you really loved something when you were young and it's just not doing it for you anymore. Maybe, for an example, for myself, when I was young, I loved magic. Like, just, I wanted to be a magician my whole life. So I think I remember the first time I think it was my uncle showed me a magic trick, and then my grandpa, and I sat there for hours. My grandpa showed me how to put a piece of newspaper over a mug or something, and he moved it around on the table, and then he took his hand and smashed the mug through the table, through the newspaper. And I was like, oh my God, I sat there for probably an hour before they trying to hit the mug through the table or whatever before they told me how to do the trick. And so that was something that I absolutely loved as a kid. I got a magic set for Christmas and I was into it so much that I just loved being able to do, and obviously when you're a 5-year old, you can only do certain cheesy little tricks, but I started learning more and it was something cool between me and my dad. He would actually read more advanced novels, and because I couldn't read the novels at that age, he would teach me the tricks and some of the concepts that were maybe above my head for a child of that age. But he would show them to me, he would read them and then show them to me. And that was something that was just the absolute best thing, the best feeling in the world to be, 7, 8-year-old kid and being able to do magic tricks that would just blow people's socks off, like I just remember my grandfather laughing his ass off, being like, he just knee slapping because I was doing these tricks and he had no idea. It's just something that a kid that age shouldn't know how to do. But it was something that I loved to do, and I did. I was very passionate about it. I would get my hands on every kind of magic book you could imagine. I would take them out of the library. Um, at the public library, at the school. I would order them back then. We didn't even have online back in the day. You had to either go to a magic store or get a magic book if you could, and order them from specialty shops and things like that. And even to the point where I ordered them from from big magic companies and illusions and things like that. And I even did a magic show when I was 16. I did it, and so it was I used to get paid for it. It was cool. And I absolutely loved it. And I thought when I was young, I wanted to be a magician. I thought I was going to be a magician, and for some reason that changed along the way, and I lost my passion for it. And that's not to say that I still don't love it. It's just that I don't think I want to make a living traveling around doing this. And you know what? It's changed, and I still love it just as much. Maybe somebody will come over and I'll show them a few tricks, and most people don't know that I used to do magic, or I was a magician when I was a kid. So it has that much more of an exciting aspect to it, where it's not this grind where I'm making my living and my passion is dependent upon it. And because that, sometimes making a living from your passion really sucks the passion out of it because it becomes a grind. And so it can go both ways. But you know what? Maybe I'll just show you guys a trick right now, because why not? So you can make a card, you can pull it out of the ethers, the airs, if you watch really carefully. Yeah, and you can make it disappear as well, and back. So that's just a little trick. But I used to love, so maybe somebody comes over and I'll show them a trick like that. And it's just cool, and seeing people's faces light up when they don't understand something. And it's all just tricks. But I still love magic. I'm still passionate about it. If I get the chance to see an amazing magician, I won't pass it up. I really love close-up magic. So things like that. Sometimes if I see it on, on TV or on YouTube, I'll definitely watch it, because I love to see where it's come since I was a kid. So, but it's okay, you don't, maybe your passions, you give something up for a while, or maybe it just lays dormant, or you give it a rest and you can come back to it a few years later. I mean, I go in and out of it, um, but that's okay. So it's okay to let things go. And even something that I thought I was going to do as a career, to let that go, to pursue other things that maybe I was finding more fun at the time than doing that. And so it's okay to let whether it's sports, hobbies, passions, or whatever it might be, it's okay to let those things go and clear out the old stuff and make room for the new stuff, right? And so sometimes that stuff cords us to the past. So whether, I was discussing this with somebody the other day about how I got rid of pretty much the majority of my stuff from when I was a kid. You know, I realized when I moved a few years ago that I was carrying around stuff that hadn't come out of boxes in 20, maybe 30 years. And so it's like, why am I carrying this stuff around? Like these things that hold sentimental value. And it's okay, you know, to go down memory lane every once in a while. But if we're getting stuck in the past or something brings up emotions every time you look at it, it's like maybe it's not the healthiest thing. So a few years ago, I made this big pile when I was moving and I just let things go. It's like let them go with love. If it's not bringing you joy, if it's not bringing value, if it's just stuck away in a box, you know, and you want to keep that memory, it's probably not going to, if it's that important to you, you're probably not going to forget it. And if you really do want to remember it, take a photo of it and save the photo. And, you know, you can go back and engage with the memory when you need to. Um, and even for myself, you know, it's like at some point in your life, like, do you need all the bowling trophies from when you were a kid? Not that everybody has those things and keeps them up, but some people do, right? And pretty much everything that I have in my room here, most of the things are just only a few years old. And I had a few knickknacks and a few ornaments and things that people gave me when I was a kid. And I just decided to let them go with love, even toys and things that I was saving. And I don't know why I was saving them. So I gave them to some of the neighborhood kids and things like that, you know, and even an old video game, I donated it and gave it to a girl and she was excited to give it to her dad. So, um, and so do things like that. Get rid of things that are no longer being used. You know, sometimes we save things for a rainy day, and it's like they just follow us around for years and years and years and years. And unless you're going to actually do it, then just let it go. And if you know, maybe you have something you want to pick back up again, you can always go and redo it. You know, you don't need to drag around stuff your whole life that you're never going to use again. So things like that, little things about letting go and letting it go with love. And now it's like I've been doing since I've been doing the commands and things like that and commanding my spirit. Um, say it's an object that had sentimental value. Uh, just what I do now is I command my spirit to bring back all my energy from this object. I command my spirit to bring back all my consciousness, all my emotional attachment, any energetic cords to or from this object now. I command my spirit, I command prime creation to neutralize this object, even something I let go. I had my father passed away a few years ago and I had a bunch of his stuff. And so I've been slowly letting that stuff go, donating it, whatever. And I had I guess, what do you call it? Like an ID bracelet of his that I had and with his name on it. And I just, you know, withdrew all the energies from it, neutralized them, and just left them, left it on a, you know, just left it out in public someplace. Maybe somebody will find it, maybe they'll like it, maybe it'll disappear. Who knows? You don't always have to, uh, you know, sometimes you donate it, give it with a warm hand, donating sometimes it, whatever, but you withdraw the emotional attachment and the energy from the object and neutralize it. So that way, you know, it's just an object after that. It doesn't have any sentimental value. And so, you know, that's an important part of the healing process of clearing the past, of letting go, is removing the emotional charge from people, places, and things as well, right? And so to circle back around about why, you know, I ask myself the question, why do we have such an emotional charge to things? And I think that because if you knew you lived forever, that this was just one life in a cycle of lives, we wouldn't hang on to things so much. We would be just like, we would let it go because that's just the way it is. We would understand that more if we remembered our past lives, or maybe not remembering our past lives, but if we were raised to know that this life was just an experience, that I'm just going through life being Rob in this lifetime, having the Rob experiences. And, you know, maybe in the next life, I'll be somebody else on a different planet or reincarnated on this planet as somebody else or whatever it is, or I'm going to be an elephant on planet Xantar. Who knows? But if we knew that creation was eternal and that we never died, and we had that awareness that we were just consciously here having a conscious experience, creating in the now moment with the divine, we wouldn't hang on to the past so much. But because I think that has been hidden from us or intentionally suppressed or kept from us, that we don't have those memories and we're taught that, you know, this, you know, either we don't believe in God, this is it, you know, we're just having this one chance existence, or if we might spend eternity in hell or even heaven. And even heaven sounds pretty boring. Why would you want to go to heaven and do the same thing in this like utopia or whatever, and it's like you're going to go there and your friends and family are going to be there, and doesn't that seem like a little bit weird? Like, isn't it maybe good to move on? Most people don't even get along with all their friends and families in this life, and they just think that like spending an eternity is going to be with amazing. I think that would be kind of like hell if you had to spend eternity with the same people over and over again. That doesn't sound like heaven to me. So maybe change is good. Maybe it allows for clearing out of the old to begin the new, to create something new, to go on to grander adventures. And maybe there is some place that we can go, that we'll always have, that we can create, that we go see our old friends and family again and reunite with them in the same roles. And that's kind of, maybe that's a special place that we can create or is created somewhere. Um, but if you think of consciousness itself and divinity and source energy, going out to have experiences, maybe it's okay to move on, right? So letting go of the identity and the roles and the ability to move on. And so if you knew that you lived forever, we wouldn't hang on to the stuff. We wouldn't hang on to the past. We wouldn't be like, oh, like I really miss, maybe we'll always have that emotional attachment in this lifetime to certain people, places, and things because it is, we only have in this lifetime, we only have one parent, one mother and father. And so, there's going to be people, but we don't have to keep the emotional charge. We don't have to get upset. We don't have to let the tears come up if they come to mind or we think about them or we see something that reminds us of them. We can say, you know what? Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for being the best you. Thank you for playing that role in my divine play, in my divine theater, um, on my divine stage. Thank you for being that part of my life. We can just say it. And maybe there's a single tear of beauty and appreciation, but we don't have to let the past haunt us. We don't have to get stuck in it. We don't have to get mired in it. And we don't have to create this doubt around it. Maybe we ruined our lives because we, should have done this, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Things happen, things move on. It's only these marriage contracts that that keep people in unhealthy relationships. Maybe there is twin flames out there that we're supposed to spend this life with. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. Some people believe in that stuff. Some people believe that our twin flames not on this earth. Some people believe, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of belief systems out there. I don't know the answer, but people, places, and things come and go into our lives, and really, there's not too much that is forever that I know of. So it's okay to move on. It's okay to let go, because not letting go is keeping you stuck at a certain frequency, at a certain level. And so in order to transcend, to move on, to grow, to flourish, to create new things, we have to let go of the past. And it can be difficult. It's not always easy. Um, and so I think that that is the gist of this episode. I don't want to go on too long and ramble too long, but um, I'm interested in how other people let go and tools they use to perhaps break free of the past. It's not always easy, and so sometimes it feels like we're giving up if we let go. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's not easy to come to a decision, especially married couples or something, to say that this isn't working for me anymore, or you've been at a job for 15 years and to say, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. And maybe it wasn't working for a long time, and you let go a long time, but it didn't kind of manifest into your reality. So please let me know how you guys deal with letting go. If you have any tips and tricks. I feel like at times I'm really good at letting stuff go, and at other times I hang on way too long. And I wonder that, what other things affect us? Why do we keep recreating the same patterns? Why do we feel we need to? Is there things that mind programs? Is there mind control? Is there certain things that are influencing us to keep repeating these same patterns? I know that if you get triggered about the same thing and you get upset about the same thing, it's like, well, if you like people like Eckhart Tolle, they talk about pain bodies, and the pain body just knows. It's like a semi-autonomous life form, and it feeds on your pain energy. So it knows your weakest points. Ron Amatron calls them emotional bodies, which are ghosts of people who've passed on. So entities, if these unseen things that live in us or around us or outside of us or in other people and can body hop, those things keep us mired in the past too, right? So those things could cause us to keep on repeating the same patterns, same addictive emotional reactions, whether it's anger, tears, upset, anxieties, all these things that bleed our life force energy, that cause us to leak out life force energy to things outside of us. We don't know those things, those pain bodies and emotional bodies or whatever other kind of entities are out there. Um, Energy forms, alien life forms that we can't see that are feeding on us whenever we're not in a state of perfect neutrality, in peace energy in the present moment. Maybe those things are reeling us into our past. So when you think about it like that, you really don't want to get upset about the past or keep on recreating those same patterns or anger or emotional turmoil and all that stuff, right? So it's very important to clear that stuff. And so um, there's tools that we can use that, commands and things like that. But I'm interested to hear what other people have done as well, and see what works for people, what doesn't, to either to let go of the past or to make sure that things don't stick in the present. And so there's a lot of tools and resources, and I'll put some of the links down below if you guys want to check those out, emotional clearings and things like that. Um, and commanding our spirit and bodies to commanding our spirit and our emotional bodies and our energetic bodies to release the things from the past and to clear and balance our chakras and things like that. And so when we regain our spiritual integrity and we start doing those things and taking command of our consciousness and our energetic system and our spirit, it's difficult at first, but if you you stick with it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, these are the things that we weren't taught to go within. The kingdom is within, like Jesus taught. All great masters, the answers are inside of us. And so when we learn that and we start accepting these things as stuff that we can do on our own and taking the responsibility, it's very empowering. So I think that's about it for today. I think I've covered on all the things that I wanted to talk about. And so, yeah, things that cord the past, people, places, and things, even just getting rid of old stuff, getting rid of old documents, things, burning them. I have a pile of old stuff that, old journals and everything, and I'm gonna have a big journal burn one day. And that's a really good way to release stuff too, is to put it on a piece of paper and command your spirit, your body, your emotional bodies, your consciousness to remove all energies associated with whatever it is, people, places, things. Maybe it's a good thing to burn pictures and remove things from your life, old albums even, right? So those things aren't constantly courting us to the past, because if we know that we live forever, this moment is all we've got. So we don't want to waste it mired in the past. We want to be actively creating our future, or at least just in a very peaceful acceptance and peaceful awareness and observing of the present. So wherever we are, even if we're just sitting in stillness, observing, looking at the world around us and just being like, wow, seeing the strange and the familiar. I always say that because one of my high school art teachers always said that. Try to see the strange and the familiar, because so often we look at things and we take it for granted, and we truly don't understand how amazing creation is because it's been hidden from us. But we're creating everything in this now moment. It's constantly moving, and so the past is always trying to reel us in, and a lot of the society that we live in is corded into the past with dates and calendars and yearly traditions and rituals and remembrance days and all this stuff. So it keeps, we're unknowingly recycling the past because we keep on remembering it, and they want us to do that. The systems and all that stuff, because it keeps us beholden to them. So when we can break free of those things and we can break free of our past, we can break free of the collective past as well. And that gives us a chance to move on to greater adventures and go on to create things and break free from those old, tired, worn out institutions, systems, people, places, and things that have been really manipulated and programmed and indoctrinated into us. And there's a lot of interesting information that's coming out that I believe in the next few years is going to come mainstream, and it's going to be, it took me a lot of years of going down rabbit holes and truly understanding how reality is created, how it's manipulated, how we create it for other people based on the images we see. So everything that we've seen throughout our lives, we keep recreating that based on our memory, based on our epigenetic recording system, based on our DNA. So very powerful stuff, and I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things coming out, and this knowledge is it's going to become common knowledge one day, and we're going to have to pass it on to the people, our children and our ancestors that come after us, so that they don't repeat the same patterns that we've been indoctrinated into this system for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years. So it's time to break free of the past. It's time to let go. And how do we do that? One step at a time, one moment at a time. Thank you guys. That was my alarm going off. So I think my time here is done today. If you're still listening, thank you for sticking around and listening to me ramble through all that stuff. And if I didn't touch on anything that I wanted to, I'll have to go back and check my notes, and I'll do it in an upcoming episode. And please feel free to comment and drop some comments of ways that you let go of commands or things that tools in your toolkit that you use to let go of the past. Sometimes I see other people, and whether or not they admit it, I'm like, wow, that person's really good at letting go of stuff, and maybe I could learn from them. So that's how we learn from each other. And so like I said, I'll put some tips and tricks and links down below as well if you want to look into some of those resources on clearing your emotional bodies. Ron Amatron's got some powerful healings. If you have a lot of spiritual integrity, you can do the commands yourself. If you need a little bit of assistance, I have a lot of friends that are sharing resources and stuff like that on Telegram. So there's help out there. And it's a journey, it's a process, and that's the practice is moment by moment, right? There's no magic, at least not where we live and where we're living right now in the mind energy and the darkness and coming out of that. There's no like snap your finger and it's done. Healings are very complicated, and I think as I go through this series, we're going to learn that more and more. And DNA makes it complicated. There, entities, emotional bodies, pain bodies, those things make it really complicated too. Those are not the things that the doctor tells you that are out there. So I would, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to start making suggestions about doctors, but before you go start taking prescription medication, please tune into this foundational healing workshop and consider some other alternative things, because those a lot of those medications are very, very bad for you, and they're just band-aid solutions, and they don't get to the root cause analysis of why you're sick or why you're going through something in the first place, and which is why I'm doing this foundational show. So thank you everybody for tuning in. And if you have ideas for upcoming episodes that you want me to speak about, say next week, I'm all ears, and I'm always looking forward to feedback and creative collaboration. So thank you to the people that have reached out to me so far. It's been great, and I appreciate it. I love you guys so much. Wishing you peace, and I'll mention to Doug that you guys were really upset with the way he ruined the beginning of the show. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining me. Peace out.